A lot of the focus in this trip seems to be on high-end weapon purchases. There's an announcement yesterday about Predator drones being purchased by the Indian government. Before that, the GE 414 engines, which will be used in the Indian light combat aircraft. Now, one of the things about weapon purchases from Russia was that they were also accompanied by transfer of technology, and one of the concerns in India is, can the United States be trusted as a weapon supplier, or do you think if things were to go wrong, or if India were to take an independent position on some foreign policy matter in the future, that the US may use these weapons as some kind of leverage against the Indian government at that time?
I very much doubt it. The US has made a strategic decision, as I said, over 4 administrations to shift its policy toward India and to make a very substantial shift towards it. On the nuclear deal, as I said, basically the concessions all came from one side, the US. The US made all the concessions. In fact, there were so many made that the Indians, for a while, there was opposition in India because they were like, why are the Americans making so many concessions? This must be a trap. So I think that there is there's some old non-aligned movement suspicions still linger in India. Look, when you look at the United States' relationship with its allies, and the United States has 59 treaty allies, it has been very consistent. It has been very loyal. It has been very straightforward. People often claim that the U.S. is, mercurial and short-term oriented and can't stay the course. But look at the reality. The United States Army is still on the banks of the Rhine defending Germany. It is still in South Korea, defending that country. It is still in Okinawa, defending that country, 75 years after those commitments were made. What other foreign power, great power, has maintained that level of consistency? So, and I think that because India has this people-to-people attraction with the U.S., I think it'll be even stronger. I think that the U.S.-India relationship will become like the U.S.-Britain relationship, like the U.S.-Israel relationship. And look, the specific issue you're talking about, this is something India desperately needs. India needs to have cutting-edge weaponry. It needs to be at the forefront of military technology and to have the best systems. India can operate them just fine. It's a very technologically sophisticated country. But what it has right now is, frankly, second-rate Russian equipment. And all you have to do is look at what is happening in Ukraine to see how this Russian equipment is faring. And the warning signs have been around for a while. If you look at the first Gulf War, the M1 Abrams, the American tank versus the Russian tank that Saddam Hussein's army had, there was no match. There was no contest. It was, that was one of the biggest mismatches that has taken place in these situations is when you put American equipment against Russian equipment, the Russian equipment is just not even second tier, it's fourth tier. And it's going to get worse as Russia is deprived of all these technologies because of the sanctions. So this is an area where India actually needs to move and move fast and move in a big way. And all I can say was on the U.S. side is look at how the U.S. has treated its other allies for 75 years.
There's a big general election in India next year, and there's a presidential election in the United States as well. Your sense on both? Is President Biden, who's now indicated that he will seek re-election, likely to get re-elected? Where do you see Donald Trump in the mix at the moment?
It looks like that the Republican Party is caught in a trap. Trump is strong enough to be unbeatable for the Republican nomination. He just has that core of people who are going to back him no matter what. But when it gets to the broader public, what we have seen since 2016 is that there is a working majority that does not like Trump. It's not huge, but if you think of after 2016, the Republicans lost the House of Representatives. Then in 2020, Trump loses re-election by 7.5 million votes to Biden. Then the Republicans lose the Senate. And in the recent midterm election, they did worse than almost every historical model would have predicted. So what you're seeing is that there is a small but steady majority of Americans who just don't like Trump. And yes, he won in 2016, But as I say, put that up against the subsequent 6 years, and you've just seen a record of failure. So my guess is that Trump gets the nomination and loses the election. It's a long way away, and I'm hesitant to make predictions because I always feel like you ask for straight answers, and that's my best guess at the time. Now, many things can happen. The economy can go into a free fall. Biden could have a big health episode. If any of those things happen, things can change. The truth about America right now is these things are very evenly balanced. So even when I say there's a comfortable majority, I mean 51-49 or 52-48. Nobody is getting the kind of blowout victories that used to happen 25 or 30 years ago.